capture of Albert DeSalvo, how the Boston Strangler was caught. Imagine a city gripped by fear, a serial killer on the loose. But what if the man eventually caught wasn't brought down by forensic evidence, but by his own arrogance? This is the story of Albert DeSalvo, the Boston Strangler. Between 1962 and 1964, Boston was terrorized. 13 women were brutally murdered, their lives extinguished by strangulation. The press dubbed the unknown killer the Boston Strangler, and panic spread like wildfire. The police were under immense pressure. They had no solid leads, no concrete evidence to connect anyone to the crimes. The city held its breath, waiting for the next victim, unaware that the man responsible was already in their grasp, albeit for different crimes. Albert DeSalvo was a Massachusetts native with a troubled past. He had a history of criminal behavior, primarily sexual assault. Before he was ever considered a suspect in the stranglings, he was known for a different, equally disturbing series of crimes. DeSalvo was arrested in 1964 for a string of rapes and burglaries. He earned the nickname Green Man because he often wore green work clothes during his crimes. He would con his way into women's homes, pretending to be a repairman. Once inside, he would attack his victims. But unlike the Boston Strangler, he didn't kill them. These crimes, seemingly unrelated, would ultimately lead to his downfall. While awaiting trial for the Green Man crimes, DeSalvo found himself sharing a cell with George Nassar. Nassar was a convicted murderer, a hardened criminal himself. It was in this unlikely setting that DeSalvo made a fateful decision. DeSalvo boasted to Nassar that he was the Boston Strangler. He detailed the murders, providing information that only the killer would know. This confession, made in the confines of a prison cell, would change the course of the investigation. Nassar, sensing an opportunity, relayed DeSalvo's confession to his attorney, F. Lee Bailey. Bailey, a renowned lawyer, saw the potential to leverage this information. He arranged for DeSalvo to formally confess to authorities. Despite his initial confession, DeSalvo later recanted his story. He claimed he had fabricated the confession to gain notoriety and attention. This retraction cast a shadow of doubt over the entire case. The public remained skeptical. Many believed DeSalvo was wrongly accused, or at least that his involvement was not as clear-cut as the authorities claimed. The lack of concrete physical evidence only fueled the controversy. The case against DeSalvo rested primarily on circumstantial evidence. His confession to Nassar was a key piece, but its reliability was constantly questioned. The knowledge of crime details, while significant, could have been gleaned from media reports. The prosecution also relied on a psychological profile that seemed to match DeSalvo. However, psychological profiling was still in its early stages, and its accuracy was often debated. The case was a complex web of suspicion and uncertainty. DeSalvo was never officially charged with the Boston Strangler murders. Instead, he was sentenced to life in prison for the Green Man sexual assaults. The legal system struggled to definitively link him to the stranglings, leaving the case shrouded in ambiguity. The public never fully accepted DeSalvo's conviction. The lingering questions and the lack of definitive proof continued to fuel debate. Was he truly the Boston Strangler, or was he a disturbed individual seeking attention? The case of Albert DeSalvo remains one of the most complex and controversial in criminal history. The uncertainty surrounding his true involvement continues to fascinate and intrigue. The reliability of his confession is still debated to this day. The Boston Strangler case serves as a cautionary tale. It highlights the challenges of investigating serial crimes and the importance of solid evidence. It also underscores the complexities of human psychology and the motivations behind criminal behavior. The case continues to be studied by law enforcement and criminal justice professionals. It offers valuable insights into the investigation of serial killers and the challenges of securing convictions in the absence of irrefutable evidence. The shadow of the Boston Strangler still looms large. Years later, in 2013, a significant breakthrough occurred. DNA evidence linked DeSalvo to the murder of Mary Sullivan, one of the Strangler's victims. This was the first concrete physical evidence connecting him to the crimes. While the DNA evidence didn't prove he committed all 13 murders, it did confirm his involvement in at least one. This discovery provided a degree of closure to the families of the victims. But the lingering questions remained. The case was far from closed. The DNA evidence reignited the debate surrounding DeSalvo's guilt. Some saw it as definitive proof, while others maintained their skepticism. The controversy surrounding the Boston Strangler case continued to simmer. Albert DeSalvo's downfall wasn't a result of a sloppy crime scene or a careless fingerprint. It was his own arrogance and need for attention that ultimately led to his confession. He couldn't resist the urge to boast about his crimes. His confession, though later recanted, set in motion a chain of events that led to his imprisonment. He was never officially convicted of the stranglings, but he spent the rest of his life behind bars for his other crimes. In the end, he was caught because he couldn't keep his secrets to himself. The story of Albert DeSalvo is a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human psyche. It's a story of fear, uncertainty, and the enduring quest for justice. The Boston Strangler case continues to captivate and disturb, leaving a lasting impact on criminal history. The capture of Albert DeSalvo, the Boston Strangler, is a story filled with twists, turns, and lingering questions. From his initial arrest for the Green Man crimes to the DNA evidence linking him to at least one of the murders, the case remains a complex and controversial chapter in criminal history. If you found this video informative and intriguing, please like and share it with others who are interested in true crime and criminal justice. Subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analyses of famous cases and the legal principles behind them. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on the DeSalvo case and whether you believe justice was truly served. Your engagement helps us create more content that explores the fascinating and often unsettling world of crime.